Hello and welcome. So, if you live in a cave and you were on Twitter and you didn't see that Kimetsu no Yaiba episode 19 was actually trending on Twitter last night, let me just update you. It was trending on Twitter. You want to know why? Because it was the best episode so far, and it had some of the most insane animation that I have seen, not only in the series so far, but in anime, like just in general, for a really long time. So, this was, without a doubt, the best episode of Kimetsu no Yaiba that I have seen so far. Now, there was a lot to digest in this episode, so we'll start from beginning to end. The first scene I want to look at is with Gyu and Inosuke. Now, this one and the scene with Zenitsu were both very quick because the focus was Tanjiro, but they were both very important. So, Gyu and Inosuke, the thing with Inosuke is that all the characters are growing and they're maturing, and the thing with Inosuke is that he's got a really big superiority complex, but he sees in characters like Tanjiro that he doesn't always have to be picking fights with people, and he sees that in Gyu too, because obviously Gyu is the ideal demon slayer, and it's where Tanjiro ought to be aiming. So he sees the admirable characteristic in Gyu, which is discipline and concentration, which can be seen in the water breathing techniques. But you see Inosuke going crazy over Gyu, and you see Gyu just have zero patience for Inosuke, which makes sense because when we first met Gyu, we could tell he was a really intense character, and he makes it clear that in the world of demon slayers, there's no room for hesitation and there's no room for sloppiness. So that's why he's so centered. He's so controlled because he has to be. So when he meets somebody like Inosuke, he just has zero patience for him. So I thought that was a really good interaction between those two characters. Then the other scene we had, real quick, was between Shinobu and Zenitsu. There wasn't too much from this scene, but it was still important. Um, the one thing that bothered me, which I get it, it's trying to be cute, it's trying to be comical. Shinobu's just annoying. Like when I first saw the banter between her and Gyu in the previous episode, I was like, oh, that's cute. They two totally different people. No, she's just annoying. Like Zenitsu's like maybe like 3 seconds from dying, and she's like, "Oh, are you okay? Are you talking to your grandpa? Oh, that's cute." Like, just give him the poison. Like, I don't care if you've seen 1,000 people die this way, so you're like desensitized to it. He's literally gonna die in 2 seconds. So, I mean, I'm sure Shinobu is a cool enough character, and I'm sure I'll grow to like her, but I don't know. She just annoyed me in this scene. It just really bothered me that she's literally just gonna stand there and watch our boy Zenitsu die of poison, like, and with the smiler on her face, like that's just really annoying. And then the scene that we're all dying to talk about, the fight between Tanjiro and or what we learned to be the 12 Kazuki demon. Now, the demon's sister calls him Rui, so I'm gonna call him Rui. I'm butchering the pronunciation, but I'm gonna call him Rui because it's quicker, it's easier, and I think it's cute. So we have the fight between Tanjiro and Rui, and this was not only was this the best episode, but what made it so great was that this was the best fight in the show so far. Now, you would think it's because of the animation and all the action and the really big climax at the end, but what makes this fight is the conflict between Tanjiro and Rui. And I didn't realize it at first because I kind of thought Rui was annoying when I first met him. But he is the anti Tanjiro. And you can see that there's a really big contrast. They're both teenage boys, or at least Rui is like teenage boy sized, I guess. I'm sure he's like thousands of years old or hundreds of years old. But they're both boys. I mean, he plays the role of a boy in the family. Um, they both have sisters with them. I'm assuming the demon sister is his older sister. Um, so this could not be more of a compare and contrast between Rui and Tanjiro. Now, you see Tanjiro, as the fight goes on in the earlier part, get the chance to slice him in the neck, and it totally fails. Now, I think this is meant to happen because this whole fight is supposed to serve as the development for Tanjiro's character. So, I think the best example of this contrast between Rui and Tanjiro is the discussion they have about family. And it's really, it's a little cliche because it's a shonen, so obviously they're going to have talks about friendship and family and nakama and all that stuff. But what I thought was well done about this, because again, it's shonen, they're going to talk about it a lot, but it was a refreshing take at this whole topic. With Rui, his idea of family is everyone has their role, and if you don't do your role in the family, then you have no place in the family. And Tanjiro couldn't be more opposite of that. With Tanjiro and Nezuko, family isn't about duty or doing your job, it's just about being there for your friends and family. So I think that it serves as the best example of what separates Tanjiro from people like Rui, who just want to use people. And with all these demons, because the whole point of the show is that most of the demons are supposed to have something that redeems them, or it's something that makes us pity them. I think this is going to be why we pity Rui, although he's pretty twisted, so I don't know how well it's going to work. I would think they're going to show us something in the next episode where he was like abandoned by his mother, or his mother died in front of him, something like that. But this is what makes this fight, is this contrast between Rui and Tanjiro and their irreconcilable views on family and bonds. And the other thing that I noticed, I don't know how obvious it was, but there's one point where Rui even says that these bonds of my threads can't be separated. And I thought that was a really effective tool in strengthening the contrast, because I didn't even think they were going to go there, or I didn't even think to connect the strong bonds of the threads, the literal connection, and the connection of all the demons. So I thought that was a really good tool. So the fight goes on afterwards, and we see Tanjiro break out his water breathing technique, which is as beautiful as always. But then Gyui breaks out his demon art, which was the blood threads. So it's not enough for Tanjiro to just use his strongest water breathing technique. So then he has the flashback to his father doing the Kagura dance to the Hinokami, which is god of fire. And I thought a lot about what's the significance of fire, because it's been a theme in his family because they worked with fire. So I thought, because his whole thing has been water breathing, but now we see him with fire. And now that I think about it, the most likely reason we see him with fire, obviously because of the fire dance, but I think what the fire is supposed to represent is the passionate love that Tanjiro demonstrates with the people around him. Because this whole fight is supposed to demonstrate what a true family looks like by contrasting Tanjiro and Nezuko to Gyui and his sister and all his family, and we see that his love for his family wins, and the literal depiction of that is the eventual defeat of Gyui with the fire. So, in that sense, I can only imagine that the fire is supposed to be a visual representation of his strong love for his family. So, in addition to Tanjiro using the Kagura dance, we see Nezuko unlock a demon art, which was the exploding blood. Now, I thought the animation for her demon art was absolutely gorgeous, but as far as significance to the story, I just don't know what it means for her character. Now, there was another contrast, or it wasn't so much of a contrast, but there was a connection where Tanjiro had a flashback, and we see his father, and then Nezuko has a moment with her mother, which is interesting because it's not like they both thought of their father. We had Tanjiro think of his father and the role he played, and we had Nezuko think about her mother and her mother telling her, make sure you protect Tanjiro. So this is just further reinforcement of the true bonds and roles of a family. But back to the demon art, I just don't know how it develops her character, which it's hard to develop her character because she never talks and she's almost always in the box. So I'm not saying I don't like the exploding art, but I'm just not sure what it means for her character. That's all I have to say about the characters and their interactions. As far as the standalone episode, I thought it was, again, absolutely gorgeous. This was the best animation that we've seen out of the series, and it's the best animation I've seen in anime in a really long time. The animation studio, I think you say it UFO Table or maybe UFO Table, I don't know. They have really weird pronunciations with studios sometimes, but I'm going to say UFO Table. Everyone's been saying that they have a really crazy budget. I don't know what their budget is, but whatever it is, it's working because this was absolutely gorgeous. The water breathing technique, the demon arts, the Kagura dance, the final scene where it all fades away. It's absolutely gorgeous. On top of that, I really liked the song at the end that sort of faded into the end credits. It wasn't necessarily like a great song, but I liked how it had a very light mood because it sort of reinforced the atmosphere of the connection between Tanjiro and Nezuko and them using their strong bond to defeat Ryui, and it just lightened the mood, and it made it just all the more enjoyable to watch. So that's all I have to say about this episode. You can check out my channel. If you look, you can see my reaction to the series as a whole and why I'm excited for the series to continue. I think it has a lot of potential, and I love the characters and the philosophy in this show. Go ahead and check out my other videos. Comment, follow me on Twitter, subscribe, and thank you for listening. I hope to hear from you soon.